Barry Gibb's story is one of movement, survival, and deep emotional continuity. Born into a working-class family and raised across continents, his life was shaped early by change and uncertainty. Music became the constant that held everything together. As time passed, fame followed, but so did loss, responsibility, and reflection. Now, in his late 70s, Barry speaks not from ambition, but from perspective. When he reflects on John Lennon, it is not to rewrite history or elevate himself by proximity. It is to humanize a fellow artist who lived under extraordinary pressure. Barry's words come from lived experience, from someone who understands both the ecstasy and cost of global recognition. His truth is quiet, thoughtful, and shaped by time rather than impulse. Early roots and a natural musical bond. Barry Gibb's childhood unfolded across multiple landscapes, each leaving its imprint on his identity. From the Isle of Man to Manchester and later Australia, his upbringing was marked by constant relocation, which fostered adaptability and closeness within his family. Music became the emotional anchor for Barry and his brothers, a shared language that felt instinctive rather than learned. Their bond went beyond sibling connection. It was intuitive and deeply creative. Barry showed an early gift for melody and songwriting, often composing with an ease that surprised even him. These early years were not about fame, but discovery. Music wasn't a career yet, it was expression, comfort, and connection. This grounding shaped Barry's lifelong approach to songwriting, where emotion always came before image. It also gave him empathy for other artists who found their identities wrapped tightly around their creative gifts, defining a sound that changed pop music. As the Bee Gees rose to prominence, Barry Gibb emerged as a defining creative force. His falsetto, once unconventional, became iconic, reshaping the sound of popular music during the disco era. Songs like Staying Alive and How Deep Is Your Love were not just hits, they were emotional timestamps for a generation. Barry didn't write to chase trends. He wrote to capture feeling, movement, and vulnerability. The success of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack elevated the Bee Gees into global icons. But Barry remained focused on craft rather than spectacle. He understood that longevity required evolution. His songwriting reflected that belief, balancing commercial appeal with emotional sincerity. Even as disco faced backlash, Barry's commitment to musical honesty sustained his relevance. He wasn't afraid to change because his foundation was rooted in emotion, not fashion. A songwriter beyond the spotlight. Barry Gibb's influence extended far beyond his own performances. As a songwriter and producer for other artists, he demonstrated remarkable versatility. Writing for Barbra Streisand, Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, and Dionne Warwick required emotional sensitivity and humility. Barry had the rare ability to disappear into someone else's voice while maintaining his melodic fingerprint. This work reinforced his belief that music is about service, not ego. He approached each collaboration with respect for the artist's identity, allowing their stories to guide the song. These experiences deepened his understanding of artistry as collaboration rather than competition. It also gave him perspective on how different artists carry fame differently. Watching others navigate success reinforced his empathy, especially for peers like John Lennon, whose public persona often overshadowed his private struggles. Loss, survival, and carrying the legacy. The deaths of Barry Gibb's brothers marked the most painful chapter of his life. Losing Andy, Maurice, and Robin left him not only grieving, but carrying the weight of memory alone. Their shared history, creativity, and brotherhood had defined his existence. Rather than retreat, Barry chose to honor them through continued performance and songwriting. His later work reflects introspection, resilience, and emotional honesty shaped by loss. He speaks openly about the loneliness of survival, acknowledging that outliving loved ones is its own kind of burden. Music became both remembrance and refuge. This experience deepened his compassion for others who lived under emotional strain. It gave him insight into the quiet grief behind public lives, shaping how he later spoke about John Lennon, not just as a legend, but as a man navigating isolation and pressure. Love, stability, and family. As anchor, Barry Gibb's personal life reflects growth through contrast. His first marriage occurred during youth and uncertainty, shaped by the pressures of early fame. Its ending, though painful, taught him about balance and self-awareness. His marriage to Linda Gray marked a turning point. Built on stability, respect, and quiet strength, it provided grounding in a life often defined by chaos. Together, they raised a family rooted in loyalty and connection. Fatherhood, and later grandfatherhood, offered Barry a sense of continuity beyond music. Family became the space where he was not a performer, but simply himself. This stability allowed him to reflect on his career without bitterness. It also reinforced his belief that enduring relationships require presence, patience, and understanding, values he later applied when reflecting on fellow artists like John Lennon. Identity, home, and holding multiple worlds. Barry Gibb's sense of belonging spans countries and cultures. Though deeply connected to his British roots, his life in the United States became central to his personal and creative world. Embracing dual citizenship symbolized his ability to honor the past while committing to the present. His attempt to preserve Johnny Cash's former home reflected his respect for musical heritage and community. The loss of that property to fire was heartbreaking, yet Barry accepted it with grace. These experiences reinforced his understanding that places, like people, are temporary, but meaning endures. Through relocation and change, Barry remained grounded in values rather than geography. This perspective allowed him to approach memory with tenderness, especially when reflecting on artists whose lives were cut short, including John Lennon. Admiration for a revolutionary voice. Barry Gibb's admiration for John Lennon began long before they met. As a young musician, he was electrified by the Beatles' honesty, confidence, and refusal to conform. Lennon represented artistic courage and emotional truth. To Barry, the Beatles weren't just successful, they were liberating. They showed that music could challenge authority and express vulnerability simultaneously. Lennon's voice carried both defiance and sensitivity, qualities Barry deeply respected. This influence shaped Barry's own willingness to experiment and evolve. Even as his own success grew, that early reverence never faded. Lennon symbolized the freedom Barry aspired to protect in his own work, especially during times when public expectations threatened creative authenticity. Meeting the man behind the myth. When Barry Gibb finally met John Lennon, the encounter left a lasting impression. Lennon's presence was magnetic, but it was his intellect and unexpected warmth that stood out. Privately, Lennon was thoughtful and perceptive, capable of kindness that contrasted with his sharp public persona. A simple compliment about the Bee Gees' harmonies stayed with Barry for decades, affirming mutual respect between artists. Barry understood that Lennon's wit often served as armor. Their interactions, though limited, revealed a man deeply aware of his influence and burdened by it. Barry saw beyond the image, recognizing someone navigating the same contradictions of fame and identity. That recognition formed the foundation of his later reflections, understanding criticism through compassion. Barry Gibb does not deny that John Lennon could be dismissive or cutting. Remarks Lennon once made about the Bee Gees hurt deeply at the time. But with distance and maturity, Barry reframed those moments through empathy. He recognized Lennon's sarcasm as a defense shaped by internal struggle. Fame, pressure, and expectation often manifest as sharpness. Barry chose understanding over resentment, acknowledging that artists sometimes wound others unintentionally while protecting themselves. This shift reflects Barry's emotional growth. Rather than holding on to pain, he allowed compassion to soften memory. It is this perspective that defines his truth about Lennon, one rooted in humanity rather than grievance. Loss, legacy, and speaking at last. The news of John Lennon's death stunned Barry Gibb. It felt unreal, final, and deeply personal. Lennon's murder represented the loss of a voice that challenged the world to think differently. Decades later, Barry speaks not as a witness to myth, but as one artist honoring another. He credits Lennon with inspiring honesty, courage, and artistic independence. At this stage of life, Barry no longer filters memory for politeness. His truth is measured, respectful, and deeply human. In speaking openly now, he offers a tribute shaped by time, wisdom, and empathy. It is not a revelation meant to shock, but a remembrance meant to heal, honoring John Lennon as a brilliant, flawed, and profoundly human soul.